Hi. Now we're going to be looking at some teaching considerations. In this video, we're going to be making an account, reviewing it more than once, verifying the intellectual integrity of each item, because the lesson plan is coming to town. Now, task analysis. Task analysis is a simple concept. You're going to make an account of what you want the students to learn. Every detail, every nuance, everything. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make one of these wonderful videos as I do it. Example A. To make a video for class, I put together a slideshow. Then I open ScreenFlow, then I talk for a while, stop ScreenFlow, and export the video. And voila! I'm done! Do you have any idea what I do? No. You know that I do some stuff, and I make some slides, and then I talk for a while. This is the kind of the Biff version. You know, in the movies, there's always the guy who gets people in trouble. He's like, how hard can it be? You just go to the theater, you show up, you make a movie, you're done, millionaire, right? The Biff mentality. Oversimplification of a task analysis is very common, and it leads to a lot of problems. Now let's look at a little bit more detailed task analysis. Example B. To make a video for class, I review the content, evaluate what I can make any meaningful adjustments, check current research to see if anything interesting has popped up related to the topic, identify a learning goal or specific objective for class time, outline a lecture for use in the video, transfer the outline to presentation, open ScreenFlow on my computer, set it to start recording, verify my placement in the camera, am I in the frame, switch to the presentation, starts on slide 1 of the presentation by saying hello, progress through the slides, carefully adhering to the pre-established guidelines of... Okay, you get the idea. More. And, yeah, more. And still I left things out of that task analysis, intentionally, because example B went for 4 slides. I stopped editing at 4 slides, and I just let it be. I left out how I open ScreenFlow, how I get to YouTube, logging into YouTube, post-processing in YouTube if there's any issues, sound or otherwise. Lots of things I left out of there, simply for the sake of time. But you get the idea. Task analysis is something that's extremely detailed. You put in every little, tiny little thought that you could into a task analysis. The reason's simple. So you can include all of the parts. You want to make sure that there are no gaps in your students' learning. 9 times out of 10, when a lesson does not work, it's because detail was left out of the task analysis, content was skipped over, and something was forgotten. 9 times out of 10, that's what makes a lesson fail. So after you've written a task analysis, verify it again. As you review your task analysis, is everything accurate? Is everything included? And finally, is my task analysis the only way to complete a task? Is my from point A to point B the only way to do it? Or are there other ways? Another question you might ask that I didn't put on this slide: if there are other ways, should I acknowledge them? So, in a math class, it might not be beneficial to acknowledge other ways of arriving at the same point. But in a social studies or phys ed class, it might be very important to acknowledge that there's other ways. So, task analysis will ensure that you're able to meet your objectives. You set your objective at a reasonable level and you're able to get there. If you know and have enumerated all of the different little parts of an idea or a concept, then you can help students when they get lost. If they're not understanding something, you can ask them questions and identify more easily where they're getting confused. And finally, you know exactly what you need to teach them what they already know. If you do a task analysis for every lesson that you teach, you're going to find that you already have a good idea of where your students are at with regards to learning. Now, related activity. This is what we're going to be doing today, or in your next class. We're going to build a detailed task analysis. If you have fewer than a dozen steps in your task analysis, you're probably not going detailed enough. Do not assume that your students will know all the steps. For your task analysis, make sure that you include every step possible. Are you going to teach this to your students? Probably not. But you need to make sure that you understand all of the steps. And this is particularly true for both math and young learners. So for young learners, every simple task is a possible chore. We were practicing reading this afternoon with my son and sounding out a word. He was very distracted. He wanted to do something else, but he needed to sound out that word in order to be able to do it. So he was very distracted by that, and it became a chore. What are the steps in counting to 3? Think about it. We think 1, 2, 3, we're done. But there's a lot going on there. What are the things that the students need to be keeping track of when they're counting to 3? What do they have to understand when they count to 3? And finally, the task analysis will help you fill in your lesson plan. It's not going to be a direct part of your lesson plan, but it will be very helpful in your lesson plan. Learning how to build a task analysis will help you to develop stronger lessons. And breaking things down into tiny pieces will help you to be a better problem solver. Now, did you get the joke at the beginning of the presentation? It was really subtle, but I think I gave you a pretty good hint. See you in class.